It is Thursday, February 28th, the last day of February, folks. And I am Clint Lambert, and it's my pleasure to be the host today of Village in Motion. And I have with me three individuals that are on the Resident Council's Dining Services Committee, both formally and informally. And I'm going to start to my left here, and Betty Christman, who is the president of the Resident Council, who really is over the Dining Services Committee informally and
right.
indirectly,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And next to her, we have Susan Gerhard, and Susan is the chairman of the Dining Services Committee.
Good morning.
And good morning. And Susan also is a host here at Channel 6, and we're very pleased to have you on the other side.
On the other side.
And next to her is Betty Griffin, and Betty is the liaison to the Dining Services Committee, and so therefore she is a member of the Resident Council. And Betty, we're glad to have you with us also.
Thank you.
And you'll be hearing me this morning saying Betty C and Betty G in order to straighten out which one I'm talking to in regards to it. Betty Christman,
Yes.
what is the Dining Services Committee? Why do we have one?
Well, I tell you, I wasn't expecting that question at all.
Oh, okay.
But you're known for your unexpected questions. Dining is a very large part of our lives here at Greenspring. And I think it's only logical to have a Dining Services Committee. And I know at one point, several years ago, probably goes back to your time on the council, there were
That's a long time
two
ago.
dining service committees.
Yes.
One was for, I don't know how it was divided, but there were two, and
Correct.
they were joined together 4 or 5 years ago. And I
Yeah.
think it's a very logical move. They meet once a month. There are subcommittees for each of the dining rooms. And the members on these committees do a wonderful job of working with the management for their particular dining room and with the overall dining services team in planning the menus, deciding what kind of special activities are going to be held, just providing that resident input to the management team on what's going on. And Susan has been the chair of that committee. This is her second year, and she's done a marvelous job of organizing people.
Right.
And what I like in particular is they have a much more focused, they're much more focused on the positive side of doing things rather than, the negative. And I think that's very, very good, and I think it shows in what Dining Services has done. There's always things that we want to have changed, and there's always negative comments that come up, and they handle those very well. But they try and look on the positive end of things, which is extremely important.
Yes, it is. It's very important to have the committee and
Yes.
for them to be positive.
Yes,
And just to respond to
absolutely.
your initial thing about you don't know how it was divided up, there was two dining services committees, one that did just the dining rooms,
okay.
and one that did the revenue generators, being the stores and the bistro.
The bistro,
in
yeah.
regards to
Okay.
it. So that was the division between the two.
Okay.
And that was determined by administration. That was not determined by anyone else. Just
okay.
to separate it out that way. And then and that started in 12, I think is when it was, 2012. It was going on during my turn as president. And then in 2015, we went back to just having one committee
Okay,
at
yeah.
that point in time. Welcome.
Thank you.
So glad to have you.
So what we would really like to focus on here this morning is some of the changes that are going to be happening for all of us in dining
Okay.
services.
All right.
And I think Betty'd like to talk a little bit about some of those changes before I get into my end of it.
Well, yeah, and it's just going to take a short while. I want to talk really about the refresh project here in Village Square and the Town Center repositioning project that's taking place in Town Center. We need to look at these as two separate projects because you start mixing them and there's a lot of confusion as to who's doing what to whom, when things are going to get done. However, they do have a lot of interplay together that we have to be cognizant of
Right.
also. But it is two separate projects. The Refresh project here in Village Square is the easier of the two. It's going to be a shorter time frame, and they will simply be refreshing the whole area. They'll be putting in new carpeting, they'll be painting walls, they'll be putting in new light fixtures, new furniture. Those are the kind of things that will be done in the refresh. They won't actually be knocking down walls and changing things
So that will
to
be
a large extent.
That'll be Woodland Skies then.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Woodland Skies dining room and all of the Village Square area
Okay.
also.
Right. Yeah.
Including the basement, the downstairs.
Sure.
Right,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the big project is this common area here, and then downstairs where we've got the Academic room and the new elevator and those kind of
Right.
things. They will be closing down the staircase for a short period of time while that is refurbished, refinished.
But they will be able to we'll be able to use
We've
both
got
elevators.
we've got both elevators, and
Right.
you can also use the outside exit from the back
Okay.
if you want. So
Okay.
those things are going to be ongoing there.
Okay.
The second project, which won't affect dining services so much initially, is over in Town Center, where there will be construction.
Right.
And that, of course, is going to be the much longer project, and will affect a lot of the meeting rooms that are over there.
Right.
I know all of our activities for the council have moved over here to Village Square or to Town or to Hunter's Crossing for
Right.
use. So those are the big things. But I think what's important for the residents to take away is there are two separate projects. If you've got questions on these projects, please go to somebody who can give you the answer.
Right.
Don't talk to your people in the dining room at night because they often will not know the answer. And
Your
that's
people
how,
being the people with whom you're eating.
right,
Right.
exactly. We're residents. That's how our rumors get started, and that's how people get frustrated and upset because
Right.
they hear things that they don't understand what's happening and why. So my advice is go to the top. We've got 2 AEDs. Melissa Robeson is the one that's in charge of the refresh here in Village Square.
Right.
She'll be glad to talk to you, I know, and answer your questions that she can.
Right.
And for Town Center, it's Brad Andrus,
Right.
who is responsible for that. So go to them, talk to Ty, talk to the managers of the dining rooms. They know what's happening.
If you're sitting in the dining room in the evening
Right.
and you're sitting around the table and you have a
Yep.
question, you have a manager on duty,
Right.
call the
Exactly.
manager over and say,
Yeah.
hey, we're talking about this. Tell us what the real facts are.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
Don't ask the servers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And-
The servers don't know.
Very, very
No,
good point.
Not at all.
Yeah. With this, it means there's going to be some changes. There's going to be some changes.
Some exciting changes.
Oh,
And
they
But
are.
some changes
Yes.
with food delivery and
Yes.
food prep, right?
Yes.
Let's talk first about
Okay.
Village Square, since we're
Okay.
here in Village
All
Square.
right.
Good.
Food prep isn't going to change. Giovanni and his team are still going to do the wonderful job that they do.
Okay.
It's where the food will be served
Okay.
for a short period of time. We'll be clearing out Woodland Skies dining room so that they can get rid of the tables that people have been.
Complaining about.
I wasn't going to use that word. People have been suggesting be replaced with a different size table. Some of the chairs could have a little more cushioning in the bottom of them. Those will be replaced. Everything will be refurbished, and meanwhile, our guests and our residents will be eating down in the Academic room
Right.
with full service down there, and the food will be served down there.
Right. Okay.
It may be a little more batch cooking than has been true currently, but it will be down there. So it will be fine.
All right. So that's Village Square.
That's Village Square. Now move over to Town Center. It can't be any more challenging for our dining services people than it is right now.
Right.
And they have done a wonderful job.
Yeah.
They really have.
I said the other day, if I were in Ty's shoes, our dining services manager, I'm not sure he would have taken the job if he had known the challenges he was going to have. And if you can imagine, if you were in school learning to do what Ty does, and somebody said, okay, you're going to go into this community, and these are all the things that are going to happen. Three kitchens will have to be closed down with dishwashers. One kitchen will have to be under renovation. Oh, we'll start this one, but then we'll have to stop because another one will have to be
Right.
renovated. Really huge challenges, and yet we've had a meal on the table every time.
Yeah. And they're always edible and good.
They're always
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah, in regards to it.
So the first thing that will happen is the cafe will be closed
Right.
down. No, we do not know when. We're still waiting for Fairfax County. So we will just continue to wait, and when they're ready,
Right.
we'll get started.
Okay. And so those changes are coming about.
They're
Yes.
coming.
Okay.
That will
And-
be the first one. When the cafe closes down, residents will be fed in the fireside dining room, and there will be adjustments made so that we'll all have a place to eat. We will not have to eat at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There are lots of rumors going around. It will all be fine.
Right.
In the end, we will
Yes.
all be fed.
That's
Okay.
right.
Right. Exactly, Betty,
Yes.
because that's what they do.
That's right.
Yes.
That's what they do, and they do it well.
Yeah. And they make sure that the service is provided and the information is out before it starts in regards to it. Betty, you are the liaison to the Dining Services Committee. And what is your responsibility with this?
Well, I'm supposed to take information from the committee to the council, and then report from the council to the committee.
Okay. And with that, then you're transmitting the information that's there. Are there any issues that you're addressing?
There are always issues,
Okay.
always. Yes, of course there are. And we do try to address them both in committee and at council.
Okay.
But, you know, I want to tell people, remember everybody complained about, oh, we're going to have noise and all this stuff about Dogwood Commons. Dogwood Commons is beautiful. And the end product is what we're looking for, and that's what we want to do here.
Right.
And we want it, like Susan said, be positive.
Yes. Okay. Very good.
And we would really, you mentioned the other day about encouraging people to go over and look at Dogwood Commons.
Yes,
Yes.
if you have it.
Absolutely.
Oh, my, yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. Because I think people need to see just what a nice job
Right.
Everything turns out to be.
and once
in
it got
regards to-
started, it went boom.
Yeah,
And the
exactly.
same is going to happen here.
Okay, very good.
At Dogwood Commons, as it was in progress, they managed to close off the parts they were working on and leave the other parts open and
Right.
available. And at no time did it look like a construction zone. I think that's what everybody thinks, that they're going to be climbing over pieces of wood and moving
No.
workmen out of the way, and that will not happen.
Right, exactly.
And it will be beautiful.
Yeah. And they will correct anything if there's an error. They'll come back in and,
Of course.
and fix it.
Which they did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And speaking of that, so no one has mentioned it yet, but starting Monday I saw, then we'll go to paper plates or plastic plates and utensils
At
in
Fireside.
In the fireside and in the cafe.
In the cafe.
Yes, right.
Again, to correct some things as they were finding things as they were doing the work.
Yes.
In regards
I
to
understand they have to put another sealant coat on the floor.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
So
And that's because the floor was, the parts of the floor were put in at 2 different times. So now they're having to
Put it all in
even
one
out
time.
that floor
Even it
so
out,
that
yeah.
so there's no tripping hazard there as most of it.
Exactly.
This is in the kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
But the food still will be prepared. It will
Absolutely.
still be delivered
Absolutely.
and still be open.
For those of you who don't realize it, for the last few weeks, maybe it's well over a month now, that food has been prepared in the Jefferson and brought over to the fireside in this mammoth heated cart.
Yes.
And there has been part of the food that's been prepared in the cafe and taken over to the Jefferson. So lots of rolling up and down the hall by lots of very tired dining services workers. So I would like to say to you, if you see a dining services worker, thank them.
Yes.
Because they have just done a huge amount of work and put a huge number of miles on their shoes.
And I learned the
have,
other
yeah.
day that the big mammoth carts are 1,000 pounds each when they have food in them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, that is phenomenal. They're pushing those things up and down the hallway.
And they are.
Yeah.
It's a long way.
It's a lot of hard labor.
Yes.
And there's a
In
few
regards
bumps in
to-
the road, too.
So get out of their way
Get out of the way, number one.
Don't be a
and
bum.
tell them thank you.
Yes.
Very, very important.
Exactly.
With what's happening with all of this, what can we as residents do to facilitate things? Do we just need to get out of the way? Is there anything else we need to do?
I
Be
think
positive.
be positive.
Okay.
I think, and with a smile on your face, and don't be upset. Change is always a little bit disconcerting, and if you're not sure what to do, ask somebody. Say, yesterday I did this, but it looks a little different today. What should I do?
Okay.
But don't get upset about it. Don't be upset with someone. Don't be nasty to somebody, as we sometimes see people do. Just say, this is a little different. I don't understand what to do. Please help me.
Okay. So ask questions.
Ask questions.
Exactly.
Of the
And-
right people.
Okay.
Yeah, of the right people, as I said earlier. And management will be providing updates regularly. There will still be updates at the coffee with the executive team, at the resident council general session. There will still be town halls, there'll be the focus groups. So attend those to find out what's happening and get an update on what's being done. They will try and be as non-disruptive as possible. I was going to say to be as disruptive, but that's wrong. They're going to work in sections, and those sections will be kind of, cordoned
Encapsulated.
off. Right. They
Okay.
will have some construction walls that are up, so the dust and dirt won't come into all the common areas.
Okay.
And we're going to suggest to them that they put in some peepholes at various levels so that people can look back and see what's happening behind that wall.
Or maybe some artwork.
Oh.
And perhaps some artwork
Artwork,
on
yes.
there. We'll have
We're
to think
suggesting.
about doing
Yes,
that.
make some
Suggesting it, yeah.
suggestions, yes.
Exactly.
Speaking of suggestions, we do want to continue to encourage residents to fill out comment cards.
Oh, yes.
But during
Most
this whole
important.
process, if you have a concern that is immediate, don't wait with a comment card. Find the manager of the area, and in all of our dining areas we have signs that say who the manager is on duty that day.
Right.
Find the manager, not a server. Find the manager. Ask the server to bring the manager to you and voice your concern, whether it's food related, service related, whatever, so that the managers know what the concern is. You continue to use your comment cards. We love those comment cards. I just last night read 225 of them and that's wonderful, from Woodland Skies from this last month, and we'll get about that same amount from the Jefferson. Turn in those comment cards, but don't hesitate to see a manager when you have a concern.
And the manager speaking of the managers of Woodland Skies are,
The manager of Woodland Skies is Troy Jordan.
okay,
The supervisor is Guillermo,
all right,
and there are others below him. I don't eat in that restaurant, so I don't know the names.
okay. Nadia is the assistant manager for Woodland Skies, and then there are a couple of other supervisors. Yes, Betty.
I'm trying to think of her name. Suganda.
Uganda, that's right, yes. Is the other supervisor.
Is
And-
Nadia the one that has moved to the Jefferson?
No.
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
no.
Nadia
Okay.
came back from. Nadia started in our dining room, and then she went to the Jefferson,
Right.
and then she came back.
Okay,
coming back,
I don't want to confuse the
Yeah,
issue
right.
then.
Yeah, Nadia's been around for a long
I
time.
think during this whole process too, I think the managers will be making themselves a little more visible so they can answer
Right,
questions from the residents.
Exactly. And then at Fireside, we have Corey as a manager, and we have
We have Nay
Nay.
Right.
and
Rox-
Roxanne.
Roxanne is the assistant manager, and Roxanne,
Yeah.
Nay is the supervisor.
Yes.
And then there's another supervisor, I think, also in regards to that.
And in the cafe, we have, of course, Corey is the manager over that also, but we have Rainey and we have Penny in
Yes.
there also, and Nay works back and forth with that also. They're just a team for both restaurants
Yes.
there.
And the nice thing is, speaking of the cafe, is that the employees of the cafe go over to Fireside when the cafe closes in the evening, and they pick up the slack, pick up the work that's over there and help out. in
Sometimes do
regard-
some extra hours.
Yeah, right, in regards to it.
good.
So it's really, really nice, in regards to that.
Yeah.
And Dining Services has had the elite member for the last couple of months in regards to doing things, and I would encourage people to continue to put in comments about an elite individual. If you see someone doing something over and above, put it
And
in.
our leader of the year is the head of dining services,
Right.
That's right.
Ty Wilson.
Ty Wilson, our Dining Services Director.
Yes, right. And we are happy to announce that our executive chef, Michael Ritt, is back on the job this week with
That's
his new
right.
knee.
That's right.
So after being out for 2 months,
Yes.
Michael and his new knee are
Yeah.
back on the job. So we're happy to have him back.
Yes. Well, we're happy to have all the chefs we have, with Michael being the exec, with
yes.
Giovanni being Woodland Skies, and Oh boy, I'm just drawing Mark being the
Mark Dewey.
Right.
being the
Mark,
chef at Fireside and Cafe. So
And in the Jefferson, it's Chef, I know they call her Mama.
yes,
Yes.
I know she's wonderful. I'm sorry I don't know her name.
I know her name, but I never can remember because I always call her Mama.
I don't
she's-
remember either.
She does a very wonderful job,
Right.
and everyone enjoys her cooking.
And glad that she's back also.
Yes.
She was gone for several months.
Yes.
in
Yes.
regards to
So we
that.
have some terrific leadership.
Really.
But we really do encourage people to don't be upset about the fact that we have lots of change coming right now. Look at it as positive change, exciting change. We're going to have lots of new things around us, lots of good things going on, and just look and say, hey, what's new today? What's different today? And look at this as an exciting thing that we're doing here.
And think about the end product.
It's
Yes.
going to be fun.
Yes.
And we'll still have reservations.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think people need to know that because people
Yes.
have wondered, are we going to have reservations? But
Yes,
we'll still have
good
reservations.
question.
Yeah.
And so Friday mornings at 9 o'clock, you can call and make reservations for the week.
Yes.
Or call each day before,
Three.
before 3.
Yes.
And make
Yeah.
reservations for that day. And also the bistro's taking reservations, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yes, they
Yeah.
do take reservations. And the bistro is a good example of, folks have been worried as we've been talking about the repositioning and adding a new dining venue in the town center area. People have been all upset about that. And it occurred to me the other night, we've run an example of this. We have popped up the bistro as really the equivalent of a new dining venue.
Yes, it
It
is.
was not signature dining before.
Right.
So we've tried this out. We've done this.
Right.
And you know what? The world didn't come to an end. And people have been so upset about the thought of having a different dining venue in town center. And we did it like that. In a couple of months' time, ironed out all the bumps in the road, and there were some. And everyone seems to be enjoying it and loving it. And we're getting comment cards that say they're enjoying the service
Good.
there, enjoying the meal there. So it's a nice small venue, signature dining there. So we can do this.
Yeah. And bistro's taking reservations, I understand, for lunch and dinner.
I don't know that answer.
At least for dinner.
Okay.
I
I
don't know
I may
about
be
lunch.
wrong with that, folks. I
don't
may
know
be
about
wrong.
lunch. Yeah.
But I thought they were taking for both.
Yeah.
But they're definitely taking them for dinner.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely for dinner.
Okay, in
Yeah.
regards to that.
Right.
And they're not encroaching on the card playing.
No,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
not.
that was a
No, they're
concern.
not.
No, yes, people were afraid that they were going to move into the card area, and
Right.
that is not happening.
Right.
Yeah.
So, hey, it's working.
So it's all working.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Woodland Skies, kind of a complete refresh, remodeling
Yes.
type situation, and Fireside being a major reconstruction. With that, with all the reconstruction, rooms are going to be closed. People are finding new rooms already, and I know that resident council's already found a new place to go, right?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. Our big meeting, the general session that all the residents are invited to come to, has moved from a Monday to a Tuesday. It's the fourth Tuesday of each month in the Hunters Crossing Conference Center, and we're meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
10 until 12. So that was the big change. The
Okay.
other, the committee meetings, our work session, our 3Cs meeting, we have moved over here to the classroom in Village Square primarily is where we're meeting.
But the big meeting, that
Yes.
everyone's invited to, the general meeting, it's on the fourth Tuesday of the month at 10 o'clock, right?
10 o'clock in the Hunters Crossing Conference Center.
And there were more people there this past Tuesday than usual down in Academic Room, it seemed
I believe there were, and I think it's because it's in a new environment, a new
okay.
area where people can get to it a little bit easier. I want to do some more publicity before those meetings, so we try and get more people to come.
Okay.
And I'm also going to look into having coffee and tea in the morning because I need it at 10 o'clock.
Well, we need cookies too.
Oh, I don't know about cookies.
Donuts?
We'll have to see. We don't
Okay.
have a real budget per se, so
Yes,
we've got
right.
to kind of look for these things.
Betty, you bring up a really good point. With all of these changes in the construction, a lot of meeting places and a lot of activities are going to be changing. So
Yes.
we really encourage people to look at the scroll on TV, look at the bulletin board on the Village Bridge, contact your group leader if you're not sure where your group is going to meet this week.
Right.
Because they are changing. There's no group that's sitting out on the front porch to meet. We have found a place, our community resources people have found places for every group to meet. But do double check before you go to a meeting. It may have moved.
Yes. And I think it's very important. But nothing is being stopped.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
And I think people need to realize
Just a
that.
little flexibility.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, in regards to it. And as soon as they get the permits and can make the changes down in Forest View area, I understand then the treasure chest will move and then everything can start into place.
Yeah.
And,
That's the domino effect.
And
Yes.
we haven't really made the point that the problem still is rather than use the word problem, the challenge still is waiting for Fairfax County.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And it's a large county with a lot of building projects going on,
Yes.
and although we have an expediter, we can't force it.
Right. And they have a history of taking their time and making sure every I's dotted and T's crossed.
Yes.
Well, you know, we
Exactly.
would much rather have that than a few years come down the road and say, well, that wasn't built right. Well, Fairfax County didn't look at it carefully enough. I'd rather they'd look at it carefully
Yes.
in the first place.
Yeah. And they are, and we will get it done
Yes.
in regards
There
to
is
it.
no doubt about that.
Right.
And I think the work is going to start before we realize it. It's going to be here quite quickly.
So it's spring.
And we've had a lot of these projects that have to be moved first. Those have been, they're taking time to do those things wisely. So when we get those permits,
They're
we're
ready
going
to
see
walk in the
workers
door.
to
Yeah,
start
right.
very, very quickly.
Right. And the menus are coming out earlier. I noticed
Yes.
the last couple of weeks that they've been out like on a Wednesday as opposed
Right.
to Friday morning type situation. So people can learn earlier
Yes.
what they want, and they can think about that, and then make their reservations where they want to go eat for the evenings during the week in regards to
Yeah.
it.
Good.
Other comments in regards to dining services?
Just be positive, ask
Yes.
lots of questions. Don't get upset about it. It's all going to be fine.
Yeah.
Betty?
Well, I keep repeating the end product. I mean, go look at Dogwood Commons because it is beautiful.
Okay.
And we will be too.
Yes.
Right.
Anything else, Betty, in regards to the council or dining services?
No, I don't believe so. Just as has been said, be positive about this whole effort. Understand what's going on. I think the first thing is we have to all be aware, so attend the meetings, the town halls, et cetera, to get the updates. And let's look for the light at the end of that tunnel. It'll be there very quickly, and we're going to have a beautiful facility when it's over.
All right. Sounds good. All right. So smile,
Yes.
enjoy,
That's right.
and savor
Exactly.
the food.
Yes.
That's the best part.
There you go. Very
Yep.
good. Thank all of you for being here with us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you.